to Monday, October 17th council session. If you have a cell phone, please turn it off. And we'll call this meeting to order. And we'll start with a moment of silence, please. Thank you. The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barnes.
Here.
Reed. Here. Brown.
Here.
Decker.
Here.
Kraus.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Domingo.
Here, thank you. Mayor and council members, comments this evening? Are there any council? Yes, Maurice?
I would like the citizens of Albion that I represent know tomorrow I start my trial. Know that I want to reiterate innocent man falsely accused, and I'm just asking for your prayers. Thank you.
Garrett, you had a question?
Just wanted to thank those who sponsored the Walk the Beat thing on Saturday. Went down there later in the evening, and it was really great. So,
okay. Andy?
Thank you. Many of you know that Friday this past week, the 101 North Superior Street building was open to the public. It will be called the Ludington Center, and we hope to be in the building in 30 days or so. So once that building comes online, we welcome folks in the community to use that space as a place for collaborative work to be done. So if people are interested in scheduling space in that building, they should get in touch with me. My email is afrench@albion.edu. My phone number is 517-414-1138. I look forward to making the Ludington Center a place of collaboration for all residents of the city of Albion. Thank you.
Lynn?
We're going to have to go. We did lunch and learn with seniors out to the park, and it was
Lynn,
very
would you
nice.
pull your mic back to you, please? Thank
and
you.
I just wanted to again thank the two officers that came out. They came out and they showed the seniors how to work the exercise material. And then Mrs. Mitchell, she showed the seniors how to access the kiosks, the information that was on there to learn about the Holland Park area. And Patrick Lopez also gave them a spiel on how to use the workout materials. And so I think that went really, really well, and thanks to them all again. And any of you who want to go out and try your luck at the workout stuff, try it out. It's good.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm sorry, Mayor. I forgot to, I wanted to ask the council to, I believe we would request from our lawyer and our city manager on our clarity where we stand as a council and a mayor with our Economic Development Corporation. We attended some meetings to give our input on the selection of a candidate. Through the process, we discovered that we as a council, it was not our responsibility to make that choice. For years, that choice was made with approval of the council. So I wanted in writing some clarity on where we stand as far as our role. It was clear to me that, you know, we have no financial role in that position. We don't have no responsibility in that position for the CEO person. We're the fiduciary, and we have no council appointment powers in that position. I'm still a little ambiguous. That's why I'm hoping that I can ask the council to support me in us getting something in writing to let us know where we stand with the Economic Development Corporation. Thank you.
If that is all, I have one announcement. I went to Macedonian Ministry Baptist Church. They started a We Care Center providing gently used or new clothing to those in need. They are open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 10 until 2. It started October 11th, and they have things for men, women, boys, girls, and infants. It's right across the street from the Macedonian Church, which is on Chauncey, 1007 Chauncey Street. And it's to help people. There is no cost to families that are in need. So if you could support them, either with what they're donating to you, or if you got things to donate to them, it has to be gently used or new and clean. So, pardon?
I said and clean.
And clean, yes. So, we want to thank them for starting that, and good luck. So, presentations. First thing we're going to start with is the Albion College International Students, and I gave Cheryl.
Deborah.
She's supposed to put your names in order. We'll see how that works. Good evening, class. We have a resolution and nominations of the honorary citizens, October 17, 2016. Whereas it has come to the attention of the city of Albion that it is the host to a number of international students. And whereas these students call Albion their home, if only for a short time. And whereas having such diversity among its population is a positive contribution to the welfare of the city. And whereas a representative of Albion College has asked for these international students to be recognized by the city council. Therefore, let it be resolved that the following persons shall be hereby named as honorary citizens of the city of Albion. And because I am so good at so many different languages, I'm going to let her do it. All righty.
We have a few who are not able to be with us,
Okay.
but
If you could step right up to the mic, because it's more important for you to say their name than it is for me to, them to hear me shake their hand.
okay. We have Varen Aben from Nigeria.
And if you would, why don't you come right up here and step as you do that behind us, and then we can have a photo of everyone.
Okay. Sriya Arya from Nepal. Subedi Barkasbat from Mongolia. Axel Bizien from France. Altazu Davaachin from Mongolia. Urbi Dwa from Nepal. Valentine Yerny from France. Caroline Guillet from France. Saori Imanaka from Japan. Raksha Iyengar from India. Camille Langara from France. Almost. Jacqueline Ramirez Guerrero from Mexico. Ruhia from Pakistan. Kezia Vard from France. And Li Fan Zhu from China. And these are all the students who were able to join us tonight. A few were ill and not available. Yeah, thank you.
What language did you say it in?
Fromage.
Still hidden. Okay. There. Okay, let's see. You're all right. You're all right. Right in the middle. There. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now it's there. Don't move. Okay, don't move. Now. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all very much.
If I may address the group for just a moment.
Sure, come right ahead.
I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you, Mayor Domingo, and to all of the members of the council, those I've known for years and those I've yet to meet. We appreciate all of the support that you give to these students here at Albion. A few are here for a semester, others are here for 4 years, and some return again even after that. They love Albion, and you are the folks that help make this feel like home to them. Thank you.
Did somebody turn the air off, or is it just me?
You want me to turn it down?
No, I don't want you to turn it down, or whatever, I don't know. Hell, it was set at 60-something.
It's at 69.
Nervous? I'm nervous. I don't see Harry. He did say he was going to be late, so I will pull the Red Ribbon Week proclamation for Harry when he gets here. So what we'll do at this point is move on to citizens' comments. For persons addressing the city council shall limit their comments to agenda items only and to no more than 5 minutes. Proper decorum is required. Are there any comments on tonight's agenda? Please step forward with your name and address, please.
Nydia Wolf, 409 Irwin. I am here as a representative of the Albion Substance Abuse Coalition, Prevention Coalition, and on the docket is a resolution adopting a moratorium on the establishment and operation of medical marijuana facilities. I would hope that you would approve that. It is very imperative that we find the right locations, the right places to put those if we do put them in the city of Albion. So that is from my stance.
Would you like to take this tonight? Do you know if Harry's coming, or?
He didn't email me, I could, but I think
Okay, he indicated he was coming.
he'll be
I'll give him a few, you'll still be here, I'll give it to you if he doesn't. Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments on the agenda? If not, we'll move on, and I'll do A, B, C, and D for approval. And I do believe I was asked the DDA minutes, Nydia was not present, and it wasn't listed. far as I know, that would be the only change.
Mayor.
Yes,
On the study sessions of September 14th, the roll call, the first 5 were present. There's just a list of the 5 of us or 6 of us that were there, and then a period, and then Maurice Barnes was absent, but there was no indication that those 6 people were present. It's just missing, just there's a name, list of
for
names.
the study session of
September 14th.
September 14th.
So you have staff present, colon, and then a list of names. If we had, council present, a list of names, it just is a list. As opposed to,
So you need the word "were present" at the first sentence?
yeah. I read it the first time, and the first read through, it looked like everybody was absent.
All right. Are there any other corrections before we move on? If there are no more corrections, we will voice vote on A, B, C, and D for approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved and supported on all 4. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. All 4 pass. Thank you very much. Items for individual discussion. Request approval for trick or treat from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday, October 31st of 2016.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Trick or treat is on. B, request approval resolution 2016-61, approval to retain additional services of Whiteman Associates for the USDA Water System Grant application.
So move. Support.
Moved and supported. Are there any questions? See none from the council. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Domingo.
Yes, thank you. C, discussion/approval of the Albion Trust Agreement.
So moved.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Are there any questions?
Ellen, you want to give us a date?
Go ahead.
Okay, so, as the council is aware, we had, a trust to manage bonds for both, Maple Grove and the, fire station. That trust, it was an irrevocable trust that expires this year. My understanding, is that there's approximately 5 years left on the Maple Grove bonds and approximately a little over 11 years left on the firehouse bonds. So we need to extend the trust to allow for those bonds to mature. There's a couple of changes that I've made to the trust. One was the original trust was only for the senior citizens housing for Maple Grove. How the fire barn bonds got in there, I have no idea. I don't think it was at all appropriate for them to be in there because the trust did not address the management of those bonds whatsoever. It only dealt with the public housing. So one of the big changes is that it is now a trust for both the senior citizen housing bonds and the fire station bonds. The other change that I've made is that it is not. It only is for 12 years, so we've shortened the period just to cover through the bond maturity. As it relates to the trustees no longer they don't serve in perpetuity anymore. They have 3-year terms. They are not appointed by each other. They're appointed by the council, much like we do with our other appointed positions. So we won't have necessarily, I guess hypothetically the same people could serve forever, but this allows for new blood to get in there if we're not satisfied with what they're doing. And the other provision that we put in there is that anybody serving as a trustee of the trust within 5 years of their appointment may not be or they cannot be an elected official, a current employee, a former employee or elected official within 5 years of their appointment. And that's basically the broad strokes. Other than that, the trust remains basically the same, allowing for various investments. And if, to the extent that they're not needed for improvements or repairs or things of that nature to Maple Grove and the fire station, the trust can approve disbursements for other city activities that we've done in the past.
Now, are there any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
So just for clarity's sake, if the trusts were allowed to expire, what would happen?
You mean the current trust?
Yeah.
We would have a problem because we're not allowed to manage our own bonds.
Okay.
So we have to have some way to do that.
Okay. Does the ABA manage any bonds for the city?
I don't believe they can.
Okay. The ABA?
Not our bonds.
Okay. The other question I had, so a couple of things. For the, you mentioned the 5-year thing. I think for council, well, was there a particular reason for that 5 years? Or that number of years? Because I know for council, there's like a 2-year.
It was just a number that,
5 years?
I just put a round figure on it. It's that they can't have been
Right.
associated with the city for 5 years, basically.
Okay.
It was, I guess I just put a round figure on it.
Okay.
It was arbitrary.
Okay. I would probably think, I'm probably gonna make an amendment maybe to bring it down to 2, because right now, if any of us serve on the city council and, there's a 2-year charter requirement where, you can't be employed by the city within it. I guess I'm just trying to figure out what the 5 years, why so long?
It was just to have I guess my thinking behind it was to have a sufficient gap of time between city involvement and managing the financial aspect of the city.
But that's just to be employed by the city.
No, it is employed by, being an elected official by. Basically, if you work for the city or were an elected official for the city, you cannot serve on the trust within 5 years of your appointment.
I would agree with that.
I guess,
Go ahead.
okay. I guess my thing is just, right now with any of the other boards or commissions, someone can serve on any other board.
They don't disperse.
Well, this isn't a board or commission though, this is a trust.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different.
So,
It's different, but it's still chose by the council.
okay,
So I think it needs to be clarified and in writing so the council knows what they're selecting. So I think we need to write the draft or the order up, just like we would a board and commissions, except for the trust. So that those things are in writing, that this person will be 5-year limit, they'll have to live within or without or whatever it is. I think we need to put that there so we know.
Well, we have a limit, the limit is in there, it's a
Okay.
3-year term.
So it's 3.
No, well, here's the number, the year of your term, you have a 3-year term on the trust. The way it used to be, I think it was set up for 5-year terms that could be reappointments, and so basically the same trustees were there for 20 years. Now you have a 3-year term. What the 5-year references is that if you are an employee of the city or former employee of the city, or an elected official or former elected official, you cannot serve on the trust within 5 years
The end of your service.
of basically the end of your service. So if you're a current employee, current elected official, you cannot be on the trust. The reason for that is there's probably an inherent conflict of interest between a current elected official, current employee dispersing city monies, and then if you're a former, it cannot be within 5 years of your service.
so two questions. So one, just a technical question about, when would this go into effect?
I would have to ask, off the top of my head, I'd have to ask Tom when our current trust expires. I don't have it in front of me. I think it's
Okay.
this month,
And
or
so,
is it next month?
No, it's this month.
This month.
and then the next, and the question for that was, with the would you have staggered appointments for the trustees? You see what I'm saying? Would the people who are on there right now remain, or would there have to be basically a complete reappointment, but with staggered terms?
Well, they're not, the people that are on there now, once the trust is expired, they're done as trustees.
Okay.
Unless the council then opts to appoint them to the new trust.
But then, I guess what I'm saying is, usually kind of what we do for boards, the seats are staggered. So did we take that in consideration?
Let me tell you whether or not I did that. It's less of an issue with the trust because there's only 3 individuals serving on it. I don't believe I staggered the terms because I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah, I think it might be, I think it might be helpful to do that.
A little tough to do when you gotta pick 3 right off the get-go. What do you pick, one?
Well, I think usually what happens is maybe one person will have a full term, someone else will have a partial term, and so it makes it where you don't have a situation where an entire board is basically cleared out.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
If that's what you're saying.
So Mayor and Council, if I understand what you're saying, so since there's 3 appointments, one could be for 1 year, one could be for 2 years, and the third one could be for 3 years.
Yeah.
For that initial appointment, and then they rotate for 3 years after that?
I apologize, I was just looking through it, I overlooked this. I left it blank so that the council could make that determination tonight, and then after that initial term, it goes to a 3-year term.
Article 5, number 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So that, I mean, we can decide.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Just
did
a
you
minute,
want to make
Maurice.
a motion to-
Maurice had his hand up and Garrett kept
Oh.
asking questions.
Well,
Are you done, or?
I'll make, should I make the motion? I make a motion that, the, resolution that's before us be amended to include, to specify that basically the initial appointees under the revised trust will have staggered terms at 3, 2, and 1 years.
Can we finish the discussion first?
Oh.
Yeah.
Gotta finish the discussion.
Go ahead, Maurice.
I just want to say I support a staggered term, starting with the partials. I would like that 5-year to come down to 2 years, because this is a financial institution, which we can go to, being a municipality, and receive the funding for some of the capital improvements we may need.
They're not connected.
Maybe 6 years ago when we were elected, our concerns were just that there were no staggered system, that people were locked into that situation, and we didn't think that was in the best interest of the city. I'm asking for it to be a 2-year limit, because you might get a very good talent on the council, maybe a PhD in business, and they have to wait 5 years to get into that slot. I think that's a little excessive. We're not really giving a fair chance to maybe some qualified people who can get in there.
Okay. Cheryl, I'm sorry. Where's that at? Maurice, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl?
I have some concern about such a short term, even with the initial appointment. 1 year is really not even enough to give a person any idea what they're supposed to be doing. So I guess my question is, the first time around, we're going to have somebody who's only going to serve 1 year, somebody who's going to serve 2 years, and then somebody's going to serve 3 years. And then after that, everybody will serve 3 years. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. That's going to give us a totally new trust board at the very beginning after this is,
Unless we don't reappoint them.
because there again, this trust has been, I know that there's a move to change the trustees. This trust has been in place so long that to put all new trustees on it, I'm not sure that's wise. And the reason that I'm not sure that's wise is because this has been in place so long that the people that are on it currently know the ins and outs of it. And I'm not sure that taking all that history off the trust board and starting all new with people that are not familiar with it is in our best interest if we have to make some decisions on how to use that money.
Well, you can absolutely appoint the current trustees to the new trust. The point in setting this up this way was, one, so that the current trustees don't continually reappoint themselves, so that should the council want to change, they can certainly do it. And two was to, shorten up the it was previously a 5-year term that was renewed, and I don't know of any other board or commission where we have 5-year terms, so I shortened it up to 3. So I mean, the idea was, if you guys are happy with what's going on, great, you can continue. But should the time or need come for a change, you have that option. You didn't have that option with the first one. That was a major concern that I had when I was reading it.
I understand. Thank you.
Maurice?
Councilwoman Kraus, I believe you're making my point. A talented financial brain might be waiting to get in, and it could bring new life, new ideas, based on the foundation of their aptitude. I wouldn't want to reappoint the same people again because of some of the situations that we felt as we even approached the receiving for the city, and we have to have a starting place. That's why I'm going along with the stagger. We have to start somewhere, and it's going to transition into a full term for each person.
Anyone else? Was anybody talked to out of the 3 that sat on this board that we were doing anything?
Nothing, no.
I didn't speak with them.
So we're writing a new trust. We have people that sit on a board and we don't even tell them that we're gonna kick their ass off.
Well, they know that the term's expired.
That doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, the way this is wrote, we don't even know the money line here. We don't know what's there.
Well,
I understand the other parts that you want to change. My recommendation would be this. 2 of them I know have moved and they don't locate here anymore. They did make the meetings from what I understand. I would highly recommend that you extend Chuck Robinson for at least 1 year to work with your 2 nominees to put on that board so that they understand what that point is and what they're supposed to be doing. Because I'm totally confused after I read this that we don't have a dollar figure of where they have invested or what they've invested in or anything else, so we don't have the return. The other question is there was a question is why is the joint ambulance and fire station bond in this, that I think we need to get answered before anybody makes any move on this. And the only way we can answer that, I do believe, is by Mr. Robinson. So I would highly recommend that we set an appointment up with Mr. Robinson to come in and to at least, we can do it in a closed session, however you want to do it, to explain where we're at with this and where we're going with that. I'd be afraid to put 3 new people on there that have no clue what that trust consists of. Yes?
If the last page of the trust is Schedule A, and that will contain basically a description. I didn't have it at the time that I drafted it. A description of what the trust property is, meaning the balances, the investments, and all of that. So that will be there. The one thing that the council needs to keep in mind is that that other trust expires very, very quickly.
Okay.
and we can't.
I guess I have a problem with that too. Nobody can tell me what the date is. Is it the 18th or is it the 28th?
We can get that to you, we'd have to go back to the original trust document, I just didn't bring it with me today.
The other question,
I just have a digital version.
the other question I have is, well, I'll ask you that after. So, but, that, I mean, that is a concern, that if something, because the way it was always explained to us is that it was just Maple Grove. And so that, I'm curious about,
Well, my theory is that to avoid having to draft a completely new and separate trust, the property was just put in there. The problem that I have with it is combining those two is like combining property of two other trusts. Like if you had the Garrett Brown revocable living trust, and all of a sudden you started putting Cheryl Krause's property in it. There's nothing in your trust that dictates how that property is managed or spent or not spent, and so that's problematic.
who had the authority to put it in there?
Well, Chuck Robeson was our city attorney,
Well, no,
and he's on the trust.
no, but I'm just saying, if you do have a situation right there where there's a trust for a particular property.
I don't know how those fire barn bonds got in there. It was during a previous administration before my time. I was, if you recall, when we were here discussing the need to do the trust renewal last time, Tom Mead and I were under the impression that the bonds that were in there were Maple Grove, and we understood them to expire in about 5 years, and lo and behold, we were surprised to find out that the ambulance ones were in there too. Those don't expire for another 11. That was the first I knew that the fire barn bonds were even in there.
Yes.
So I guess what we're having a conversation about, sort of the details of these articles in this trust document. I'm thinking that whether or not the existing trust expires tomorrow or 10 days from now, or 2 weeks from now, what happens when that trust closes? If we don't have a trust document in place, what happens? Money goes away?
No, I mean, it basically sits in an account, and we can't really do anything with it until we have another trust in place. But the problem is, the authority of the trustees expires with the trust. So we can't touch it, we can't manipulate it until we have another trust in place, which means you can't spend any money for Maple Grove, for the fire barn, you can't take any money out for any other expenditures, anything like that. It's essentially frozen.
Okay.
Yes, Becky?
Is there any stopgap that we can put in so we can actually take our time and read this and get the information from Mr. Robinson and talk to people so we're not in a position where we're reacting quickly without being able to put the time and effort into it?
We knew a year ago this trust was going to expire.
Right.
We knew that. You bring it to us 5 days, 10 days before it's going to expire. This doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to sit here and approve something, and I hope the council is smarter than that too, not knowing what figure you're figuring here. I would think that Mr. Robinson, if nothing else, he came here 2 or 3 months ago, he asked, I told a couple people that he wanted to speak, but he didn't want to do it in public because there was a couple of things in there that he didn't think the public needed to know. That was ignored. Nobody ever got a hold of him. Nobody ever spoke to him. Now we're here at the 11th hour again in a crisis. Not good. Not good. We're dealing with a lot of money here that, you know, we don't even have the figure, and we've got questions that even the city attorney and the city manager are asking, why are they in there? The only way you can find that out is by one of the previous people that sit on that board. Yes, Andy?
So I think that I recognize that we are in the 11th hour, and this is a very difficult decision to make. I think what Cullen has given us is a document that describes a structure, which has been edited and modified from the existing trust document to incorporate some changes that he thinks we should make regarding terms of service, eligibility of service, the fact that we've got 2 bonds or multiple bonds, not necessarily Maple Grove. So I think what my take is that we could approve this document in principle right now, because how much money is in it is not necessarily an issue here, because what we're approving is a structure of a trust. Whether there's $500,000 or $1 million in it, the trust document as written here provides all the structure that whoever we choose to serve on the trust will have necessary to be able to make those decisions regarding disbursement of funds. So I think that from a structural point of view, we're tweaking about whether we have staggered terms. I think we've got agreement that we have that we agree on a staggering of terms. Who we appoint doesn't have to be made today. That decision doesn't have to be made today. And I don't think anyone who's on the trust now would object to we appoint one for 1 year and appoint 2 new ones, or we appoint 2 of them and appoint a new one. I mean, those sorts of things don't have to be decided now to approve this document. By approving the document today, we protect ourselves such that we have a trust in place when the existing one expires. I trust Cullen has done his due diligence. I trust that he has kept the interest of the city in mind in drafting this document. And I have read this document, and I'm comfortable with it, containing the edits that have been presented.
Yes.
So, I guess so we've known about, actually this is, when I was first appointed to council 6 years ago, this concerned me. And so, we have known about it for a while. I guess one of the things that I was always interested in is what other municipalities use a format like this to deal with these situations. Do we know?
Off the top of my head, I don't know of any other municipality that has trust set up in this fashion.
So, and I've asked that question before, so that's just for the public, but, going from there, I guess the next thing is, well, there has to be some other way that they deal with bonds if it's not a trust. So I'm not saying that I'm opposed to the trust, I'm just saying that, it would have helped to have, more information about what other cities do to handle these situations. I do think it is a legitimate question to ask why the fire barn, fire station bonds are in there. I think that's legitimate. Before we basically ratify something with something in it that might not have shouldn't have been there potentially. So yeah, I think that's a legitimate question.
Mayor and Council, if I could just offer a comment. We did approach you a couple of months ago to get some input from you relative to how you wanted to address the renewal of this document relative to the trust fund. So one of the things that was made clear was that you wanted an opportunity to have the reappointment come back to the city council for approval instead of the process that they had in place where they could just reappoint themselves. To go back to your question in regards to how the fire bonds were inserted, I don't have that information. I can only assume that it seemed to be an appropriate way to have an existing entity handle the bonds because we could not handle our own bonds. Okay. So it was an existing entity, and what it appears is they didn't go through the process of amending the document itself to allow them to do that. Okay. So what Colin is recommending is, since this is what is in fact being done, to make certain that the proper authorization is in place through this document. Okay. And then your other question in regards to what other entities do, sometimes it is the building authority, but it depends on what their local building authority is authorized to do. If it can handle the bonds, it depends on the municipality on how they want to handle it.
Cullen, go ahead.
What I was going to say is somewhat a reiteration of what Councilman French said. I mean, what you guys have in the trust, whether it's $1 or $1 million or whatever, this is just a document that manages it. Should you guys know what's in it? Absolutely. I don't know that that should impede you guys on having the trust formulated. I just didn't have that to attach to the trust. You know, as it relates to the staggered terms, that's fine, we can add that in. And as it relates to why the fire barn bonds are in there, I don't know. Is it a cause for concern that they were in there? Is it a cause for concern that they were in there with the old trust? The new trust sets it up so that there's a management structure for both Maple Grove and for the fire barn bonds. So going forward, it shouldn't be a concern, but should you ask the old trustees why it was there? Yeah, absolutely, that's a question you should ask, because I think it was totally inappropriate for them to be in there the way that the trust was drafted.
So,
Becky, you had your hand up.
My question to Colin, I did not either understand or get an answer to. Is there something that we can do as a stopgap to give us time to actually get all the information? I'm not comfortable voting yes on something when I don't have all the information.
I think you would need,
All we would need probably is a resolution to,
no, you need like the problem is, the trust right now is set up to expire. So you would either need, you would probably need I'll just call it an addendum, or like, almost like, yeah, an addendum to the trust that would basically extend it in its present form for X period of time. I think that's the only thing you could do, because realistically you need a new trust, because it's an irrevocable trust.
Mr. Mayor?
Well, couldn't we do that and extend it for like 2 weeks or something until we can get
just a minute. Tom?
Tom Mead, Finance Department. A couple of things. I'm gonna go outside of my comfort zone a little bit, because I'm gonna have to make some assumptions on what happened years ago that didn't involve me. But I think what happened, if you go back in time and look at the money that was in that trust, that years ago was tied to Maple Grove and the profits generated from Maple Grove, and money would get transferred over to it was an investment, basically, as an investment tool to put the money in that particular trust. Things have changed with Michigan now that they do not allow that to happen anymore, as far as having the money from Maple Grove come over there. However, the money that did come over from years ago was sitting there in this trust and was invested in several different investments. I think what happened is when the bonds for both the fire barn and Maple Grove went on the market, a decision was made to invest in those bonds with the money in that trust, just as if they were investing in bonds from, you know, state of Michigan or you know, public school or any other bond. I think they just decided, hey, here's an investment these bonds are paying X% interest, I don't know what it was, and they just made a decision. In doing that, it created a very unique situation, because all of a sudden you've got this related entity holding bonds of you know, I'm saying you've got the purchaser and holding bonds that they're kind of related to. So it created kind of a unique situation, but I think that's how those bonds got in there. That's my understanding. I think it was just an investment tool. The other thing I'll add, and maybe it'll offer a little bit of comfort, the only need that we've had in the last few years, or last several years, in that trust to disperse any money or do any kind of movement with any kind of money is when other city entities would approach it and ask for donation or some help to finance some of our assets. So obviously, it is important that we get it resolved, get a new trust set up. But I don't see any immediate need. You know, I think the DDA was the last one that approached them with the Isman House. Right. And I don't, you know, I'm not aware of any others that are coming up in the next month or two, you know, so it's not like money flows in and out there every single day, or that we need somebody to be signing off on stuff every day. So hopefully that might buy us a little time if there are questions or whatever, so.
Thank you.
If that helps.
Thank you, Tom. Yes.
So I know years ago there was a fire at Maple Grove, and currently with the funds that are there, is there any stipulation about having a reserve amount for instances in which, something catastrophic happens.
It's
There
my,
is, I'm sorry, Cheryl, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's my understanding that through the housing entity themselves and their relationship with the federal government, that they're required themselves to have a reserve in place.
Okay.
I think we've had a good discussion on this, but I don't think we're ready for approval on it, but that's the council's call. I would highly recommend that, we check with Chuck Robinson, because he is the only one that I know of before he takes off for Florida, to get, the bottom line on it, figure out where we're at, what they did, why they did the bonds the way they did, get some answers before you approve this. And you have a short period of time with this council to do that. The first council in December will be a new council, and I don't know if they'll be aware of even what the trust is, so I would proceed with this with caution, council. If there is no further questions.
So there's one question. So we don't know the exact date of expiration.
There isn't a digital copy of it, there's a hard copy that I have in my office. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you what it is. It is, I believe it's this month, I think it's October.
I know it's October.
So, I think it ends with the 6th. I think it's either the 16th or the 26th, or.
On the website, it indicates October 28th, 1990, through resolution 96-52. I just can't pull up the original document, but that's what it
28th of this month.
That's what I'm assuming. So if you have to have a special meeting or something like that, prior to that, I would highly recommend it, but like I said, that is up to the council, whatever you want to do. I don't, but like I said, it's up to you. I'm not gonna sit here and, I see there's a roll call at the end of this, for the discussion or the approval. I need the council's recommendation of what you would like to do. Yes, Maurice?
I would like to make a motion that we accept the structure that we just discussed.
Becky?
I was going to ask that we arrange to table this and arrange for Mr. Robinson to come and speak to the council. I don't know how we would do that. I don't know the steps involved in asking for his assistance, but I do need to have more information.
Well, today is the 17th. If the trust ends the 28th, I think we need to have a meeting to declare exactly what that is, and I think the only clarification you're gonna get that from is to have a meeting, hopefully, with Mr. Robinson sit down with us and explain the situation before anybody makes approval of what we have.
Could we tag it on to Thursday's meeting? Or is that gonna be less than?
Well, I have to contact him and find out his availability.
On Thursday. The study session.
I just have a strange feeling there's some things here that we need to know before the approval. I understand what you're saying, Colin, but what you're saying as far as that goes, I don't see a problem with that. That can be approved at any point in time. So, the wishes, how do we go from here? Jill, what are you gonna have?
We either
approval-wise?
table it or put it to a vote, right?
To have a study session on the Albion Trust
Did you motion to?
at a,
We have to table it.
I did that.
Was that a motion to table?
Yeah, I was asking for it to be tabled until we can speak to Mr. Robinson, was what I asked.
okay?
Doesn't require a second.
I'll second.
Doesn't need to be.
Oh, it's a,
You wanna read that back, Jill, when you're done,
it's a motion.
please?
You want to table the Albion Trust Agreement to include a study session?
Prior to, hopefully, the expiration date of the 28th, if that's what it is.
Given
Yes.
what Mr. Robeson has said regarding privacy, does it need to be an executive session?
But that's the,
I just asked a question.
I think
Don't argue back, I'm just asking the question.
I guess I'm saying it's a there are certain things that are, this is a public body, and those are public funds, right? So I don't see, I mean, usually work sessions are not televised anyways, but,
I think what the trust is comprised of and the specific amount, given that it's a trust, I mean, that can probably remain private, but I don't think there's a statutory exemption that would allow us to go into executive
Okay.
session or something like that.
That's fine,
Right.
just asking.
I don't see where this money should be private to begin with. I mean, you know, it's a trust, it's an overflow of Maple Grove. They had to invest it because they made money. It is to help certain things throughout the community. I don't see where it needs to be. What we're gonna discuss doesn't need to be private. I think everybody needs to know what that trust is for.
Okay.
Okay? Are you ready?
Are we voting and tabling it? Is that what we're voting on?
Okay. So we need to vote the table and then vote to what we're gonna do.
We don't have to vote on a meeting, do we? We just have to.
I don't know why you would have to table because it was a discussion or an approval, but,
Oh, it just says or?
you know. Right?
Except I think you had a motion on the floor, they would have to withdraw the original motion.
Who made that motion? Withdraw.
It was me. Actually me. It was actually,
You know, I had to keep my phone on.
Andy made it. I'm sorry. Would you like to withdraw that?
I withdraw.
no, wait, you don't get to withdraw.
I don't get to withdraw?
No, you don't want to withdraw your tabling motion. I will withdraw my motion to approve the Albion Trust Agreement.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
I made a motion to, accept the structure, but I'm sorry, my phone was on because that was the legal team and I have to leave my phone. So I don't know if that.
That's all right. We're way beyond that.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, lost.
Sorry. You snooze, you lose, bub.
No problem.
Okay, so Andy withdrew his, now we're have on the approval for Jill, word-wise, what are we
done.
approving?
I thought
have to approve
we
it.
decided we didn't have to table it because there was a discussion or an approval.
Okay,
That's what you,
all right,
that was the last I heard.
okay, do we have a motion?
The table, yes.
Okay, we don't need a motion according to Jill.
Isn't that what
We can,
Now that the motion's been withdrawn, it's not,
was done?
it's done, and just put it on to the next.
okay, so we don't even have to vote.
No.
Well, then we're just gonna move on. Okay. The request for approval for the city manager to cast the official ballot for the board members as recommended by the MML.
Support.
Normally, if I'm not mistaken, did anybody get a list of the nominees?
I think it was included in the packet.
Okay, we used to, they used to come, I don't know, not that anybody knew any of them, but,
Yeah, we've done this before.
well, that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
used to come, and then, you know,
4
then
years
we'd
ago, I
let,
think it
yeah,
happened.
It's
let
on
to
the
go with it.
back.
Yeah, I know that, okay. It's been moved and supported. Are there any questions of Cheryl, approving that ballot? If not, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Kraus?
Yes.
French?
Yes.
Barnes?
Yes.
Reed?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Decker?
Yes.
And Mayor Domingo?
Yes, thank you. E, discussion/approval resolution 2016-62, a resolution adopting a moratorium on the establishment and operation of medical marijuana facilities.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. Are there any questions? Yes.
Did we ever receive the information from the other cities like Lansing on, how they were doing, with their experience, having instituted,
The last I heard, did they not try, or they did pass a resolution in Lansing to personalize 1 ounce for them, am I correct? Did I?
We're talking about two different things.
Okay, then
One-
forget that what I'm talking about, let's just get back to this one.
Okay, yeah. What the city has done, or the city of Lansing has put a cap, at least they very recently put a cap on the number of dispensaries. I think they had at one point 70 dispensaries up there, and they were starting to say that even that was ridiculous. Here's what's going on. The state passed Public Act 281 of 2016, which was basically, I think, the legislature's attempt to clean up a very poorly drafted ballot proposal, ballot initiative that brought about medical marijuana, and there's been a ton of litigation about this over the past several years since 2008. The way that the new Public Act reads is that it wouldn't take effect until December of this year anyway, but if the council does not adopt an ordinance to allow medical marijuana facilities, they can't exist in the city, period. So if we do nothing, there won't be anything. Basically, what I'm suggesting is that the city do a moratorium to discuss if you want to have one, if you do want to have one, how you want to limit it in terms of zoning, whether it's only going to be in this location or that location. You might want to consult with Chief Kipp about the possible negative criminal aspects that can be associated with it. And there's a lot of things to discuss. That's why I'm suggesting a 6-month moratorium, just not taking up the issue in any shape or form until you have all your questions answered and things of that nature.
Did we not do a moratorium here a year or two ago?
Yes.
We ended the moratorium a couple years ago because there was some pending litigation in the Court of Appeals that
Correct.
resolved the issue, and now this new Public Act has kind of changed things again.
So do you only want to make this for 6 months?
I think with 6 months, you will have an answer in what direction you want to go, and so yes, I think 6 months will be sufficient.
Okay. Even though this doesn't state that? Okay, the resolution adopting, do we want to add that for 6 months and brought back to the council?
It automatically terminates in 180 days from the date of the resolution, but if you wanted to bring it back, we can always bring it back at the end and just extend it. That's what we did with the previous.
That's what I thought, so, okay. Are there any more questions on legalizing marijuana, or the moratorium on marijuana? Sorry, I'm getting short. I can. If not, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember French.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Decker.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
And Mayor Domingo.
Yes. City manager, is your report very long? I have kids in the audience that I was gonna do for Harry, because I would not want them to miss their homework or be late, or to get home and get to bed, so they got a good night's sleep, before they have to go to school. That means it's gonna be a long one, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do what we were supposed to do earlier, but somebody was, he came.
Correct.
Couldn't make it here on time.
Correct.
So, we will continue with this. Did you bring any representatives with you, like the mayor's youth group, or?
I have members of the Mayor's Youth Council, members of Marshall Public Safety, members of Albion. I didn't bring Albion Public Safety. I assume they was already here. And other young lady here, you want to come up? And our teacher here that's in class. Also Ivy, Scott, you guys, could you come up? Elijah?
How are you, young lady? You're great. You're great. Look at we have twins here or what? Oh, okay. This is just a shirt. Come on. Move on around here.
I'm gonna have Mrs. Mitchie, the teacher of the leadership class, talk about what this represents, American, what it reading. He is corrected by our student.
I'd hand it to you, but it seems to be stuck. Please.
Well, thank you. My name is Nisha Ritchie, and I am a Marshall Middle School teacher. I am teaching a student leadership class, and this year our students have decided to take on the challenge of having a Red Ribbon Week campaign. And the purpose of that is to honor the life and work of a drug enforcement officer who was killed during the line of duty. Back in 1985 in Mexico City, and Red Ribbon Week was established as a way to continue promoting his message for drug awareness as a way to bring communities and families together. And these students have volunteered to be a part of this committee and are organizing some activities at school around the Red Ribbon Week campaign, which will begin next week.
Great, and I should say that, you know, we started this initiative as part of the Mayor's Youth Coalition with these young guys in Albion, and then when we went to Marshall Middle School, Elijah and I, who work over there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we continue that working with Ms. Ritchie and her staff, and then the middle school staff. And I don't know, Scott, if you want to say anything, and you guys want to say anything on behalf of the proclamation. Go ahead, Becky.
I just again want to publicly recognize these kids. I'm from Marshall, and I'm over in Albion quite a bit, and we all know that drugs are impacting our lives and people that we know. So kids, I appreciate you stepping up to the plate and taking a leadership role in this.
I just really appreciate the opportunity this year to be able to work with all of our students from Marshall and Albion all together in Marshall. I have some fabulous kids to work with in our leadership group and throughout our school. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Great. Natalia, you want to say something on behalf of the mayor of Youth Coalition? You're right. You're standing next to the mayor, so I assume you want to say.
Okay. It's just a great opportunity for me, being at a young age, to be a part of something great from where I come from, and to be able to stand here in front of people and talk the way I am and not be nervous like I used to be. Thank you, Mr.
And I want to say, Elijah, you want to step up, and I want to say a special thanks to Jason here. We do a lot of work with Jason, the fine work that he does on our behalf, and he risks his life all the time, just like the officer risks his, lost his. So we want to say thank you to everybody's involved. We want to thank, again, our mayor and our city manager, who has been very instrumental with the proclamation. And so with that said, Elijah, you want to say anything before we allow, the parents and the grandparents here. You want to kind of raise your hand and identify which one of these young people belong to you?
Well, this is my granddaughter, Ella, and we're new actually to the Albion community. We moved here from California, and she moved here from Cheyenne, Wyoming. So we're just pleased, I'm pleased for her to be able to be involved in something that's community-minded and be able to spread the word and get some people in Macedonia involved as well.
Great, we have another parent here. We drove over from Marshall, to be with her son, and she went in dishes.
Nancy Chapman, Marshall, and you have strong ties to Albion. This is my father's business in town. I'm told it was prosperous. I'm very proud to hear that Harrison stepped up to be a part of this committee.
Great effort. With that said, Mayor, if you want to read the proclamation for us, and we appreciate the council and all the work that you guys do. I can never be a council person or any other contest. I wouldn't be any.
Thank you for your encouragement words for all of these individuals that we have trying to become one of us.
If they don't know that by now, they'll never know.
Anyway, the city of Albion would like to celebrate the Red Ribbon Week October 23rd through the 31st of 2016. Whereas alcohol and other drug abuse in the nation has reached epidemic stages, and whereas it is imperative that visible, united prevention education efforts by community members be launched to eliminate the demand for drugs. And whereas substance abuse prevention services, all of these folks, in the National Red Ribbon Campaign, offering citizens the opportunity to demonstrate their community to drug-free lifestyles, no use of illegal drugs, and no illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas the National Red Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in every community in America during Red Ribbon Week, October 23rd through the 31st. And whereas businesses, government, parents, law enforcement, media, medical, religious institutions, schools, senior citizens, service organizations, and youth will demonstrate their commitment to health, drug-free lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbon during this week-long campaign. And whereas the City of Albion further commits its support to ensure the success of the Red Ribbon Campaign, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Albion does hereby proclaim October 23rd through the 31st of 2016 as Red Ribbon Week, and encourage its citizens to participate in drug prevention education activities, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to a drug-free state. Thank you all very much for your commitment. Keep up, keep drug-free. She said some words while you were absent, and, you know, we praised her for that. She encouraged all of you. There you go. And they fall in here behind you. You're doing good. All right, come on up.
Okay. She's got to go to that's good. Yeah, your head. Please, please.
Is somebody
Okay, now, don't anybody move.
Oh, don't listen to her.
Don't move. Now.
Thank you all very much. stay off drugs and stay in school. Isn't that the way it goes, or do you stay on drugs and stay out of school? Anyway, okay, now it's up to the city manager.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Mitchell, please.
Thank you, Mayor Domingo. I want to remind you that we received a notification from the chamber in regards to the Albion Aglow Parade, which will be Tuesday, November 29th. If you're interested in participating, if you could let me know and I can turn that in to them. Also, we're really thrilled with the town hall meetings we've been having. We've had 3. The 4th one will be on Thursday, October 27th at 7 p.m. at Lewis Chapel. We've been getting a really good turnout and a lot of input from the residents in regards to what is their vision for the future for our community. We're really excited about that moving forward. There will be a special session in regards to the Dalrymple School property and how the people in the community would like to see it possibly reused in the future. That will be part of the process of our redevelopment of sites. So we want to start talking with the residents in terms of what they would like to see in that space. That meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 25th at 7 p.m. That also will be at Lewis Chapel. Dr. Ruth Holland was here over the weekend, and Dr. Bonner, who I believe just left, had invited her to come and speak with some residents in the community in regards to how they can be involved in reinvesting in the community and actually be cheerleaders for the community and ambassadors, champions for what's going to happen next, because you can't just rely on your elected officials to do it. We need to have the community residents actually involved and engaged and having a hand in the next steps as we move forward. So she was talking about that and sharing her wealth of knowledge in regards to community engagement and community reinvestment strategies. The Lead Awareness Task Force is going to go ahead and have their public session in regards to lead awareness. So they'll be talking about both the education, the enforcement, the inspections, as well as possible legislation that could be coming down the pipes. And the speaker will be Tina Reynolds, and that's going to be on Thursday, October 27th as well. They'll be at the Cool Family Center in Battle Creek. And I believe I gave you handouts in regards to that. I want to remind everyone that the election is November 8th. The City Council does have 2 charter amendments on the ballot, and I just want to remind you that one of them is just purely a reorganization language relative to our departments. It doesn't impact how we actually are operating. It's just making the language reflect the departments that we currently have. Some of these departments are outdated. So it's just an update. It's not going to impact anyone's employment. It's just a matter of dotting our I's and crossing our T's. The other one, if you recall, our current charter language requires that if we are going to sell city-owned lots, vacant lots, that we have to sell them at the assessor's valuation, which is often several $1,000s for a lot. So we would like to get these properties moved back into being productive and have them at a more affordable rate, a fair rate, which would be something similar to what the county presently does for their vacant lots, which is around $300. So those are the 2 amendments that are on the ballot. So I just want to remind you of those as well. And on October 20th, you have your study session in regards to the single hauler that will be at 6:30 here, and we'll go over the bids that we received in regards to both the single hauling as well as the leaf pickup and recycling services that we received. I think we received 3 responses. And that would essentially be it.
Thank you.
Cheryl, that people have been asking me in my precinct whether or not we will be doing leaf pickup this year in the same way that we've done it in the past.
Yes.
Okay, that probably should have been brought to this meeting because it starts November 1st, but
So
anybody?
do we know?
Yeah, where do we start?
Which quadrant's getting first?
I do not know at this point.
Right.
I get the information for you, but I don't know where they're starting. We usually try to bounce it around.
Right, no, I know you do. That's why. Okay.
I'll get it to you.
Thank you.
We'll help get that distributed quickly.
Okay. One other question about Halloween. Is there a trunk search or a candy search at public safety? I did not hear that mentioned. Okay. You'll be doing that? Okay. So we need to get that word out as well. Okay? Are there any other questions of Cheryl? If not, we'll move on to future agenda items.
The trust.
See none? Oops.
Trust.
The trust. Well, hopefully we'll have that settled by the time we get back to council. Yes.
Clarity on our position with the EDC.
Oh, okay. All right. If that's all the members are here, so we can take H off. Citizens' comments. Persons addressing the city council shall limit their comments to no more than 5 minutes. Proper decorum is required. Please, if you have a comment this evening, step forward with your name and your address. If you don't, then I'm gonna ask for an adjournment, so you better be quick.
Seeing none.
I said quick.
Seeing none, Mike.
I get the same thing over at the county building when I start talking over there. Like I told you when I first took this position as county commissioner, my name's Mike Behrman, 11016 29 Mile Road, but I told you that I will come to you and talk at least once a month and give you some of the updates. Couple things that I want to talk about tonight is I just got reappointed to the Workforce Development Board, but I got an upgrade. I went from being on their advisory board to the executive board now. So that's going to be I'm going to be able to start doing a little more for the eastern part of the county. And then some of the other committees that I'm on right now, I don't know what's going to happen to them with my not running for county commissioner this time around because they were appointed by the county commission. So I don't know how many of the different committees I will end up being on. I want to also say that it's going to be a very important time for the election, and we need to get people out. I know it's important for people to be seen at these different meetings, and that a lot of the people that are running for the different offices have been coming to these meetings, and it's very, very important to get to know them, get to see everybody, and understand where everybody's coming from. One last thing is Marshall is starting to work on a senior center, but I wanted to tell you because it's not in competition with the Fork Senior Center. It's what we're looking at is like a senior center without walls. So therefore, we'll be able to, people from Albion will be able to go over there. They'll be able to come over here and a lot of other things. That's what we're hoping that happens. These are things that we're talking in strategic planning, but we want it so that the seniors across the county, all the way, like Lynn, if you wanted to go play cards against somebody else over in Battle Creek, and you're going to be over there, you just walk in and be part of their group. And we've got to be able to work together and make sure that all of our departments and our groups are working together, collaborating together, because we're a whole lot stronger as a county than as individuals. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Lynn, make sure when you go over there, you take plenty of money. It's held at the casino at the 21 table.
Good evening, I'm Fred Heaton, 21935 H Drive, Homer. I'm a candidate for Water Resource Commissioner. I would appreciate support in any way that you could give me. One other comment is I'm very, very excited to see all the improvements you've made downtown. It's incredible. It just gives me a lot more encouragement that this community is moving ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Scott Kipp, Chief of Public Safety. We've had a lot of events going on lately, and we've kind of let it slip on advertising for the chili cook-off, which will be taking place on October 28th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So it's just a week from this coming Friday. So
Repeat the time again?
The October 28th from 5 PM to 7 PM at the fire station.
Well, if that is it.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported. I just want you all to know that I do have just 2 meetings left and a partial, so. Before I hand over the gavel.
How long you gonna keep us here, Joe?
Well, you already blew my 12-minute record, so might as well hold you here till 8:30 to. Okay, I'm kidding. Not only the clerk, you know. Okay, anyway, we've been moved and supported for adjournment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Thank you all very much and have a good evening. Can we get these 2 light bulbs replaced?